In this video, I'm going to share how you can potentially treat acid reflux with intermittent fasting and perhaps get some improvement. I'll share some personal experience about that first, and then I'll share why it could help, like the underlying mechanism, and then also how to get started. My name's Ben, I'm a PA, and I share tips and strategies about using fasting to improve your health and also nutrition and other related things. So some years ago, I started having some indigestion problems, and some of the time it felt like reflux as well. So after that was there for a while, it didn't go away, so I started taking medicine for it called omeprazole or Prilosec, which reduces the amount of stomach acid that you produce. And so the medicine did help, and so I kept taking it basically once a day. It's preventative each morning. I ended up taking it for a couple of years. So I was on this medicine, and after I'd been on the medicine for a while is when I started learning about fasting and kind of how to do it and decided to try some fasting. So I'd been on the medicine for maybe a year and a half when I did that. So the first time I tried fasting, though, I did a long fast, like 5 days. And it was kind of a modified fast, so I was consuming just a little bit of food. But what I noticed during that is actually my reflux sort of got a little bit worse during that prolonged fast. And so I continued to take the omeprazole even while I was fasting to keep that under control. But then about 6 or 8 months later is when, after listening to a few podcasts, and I learned about what's called time-restricted eating, also known as time-restricted feeding, also known as intermittent fasting. That's what people usually mean when they say intermittent fasting. It's just eating your food in a shorter window of time each day, and that's called time-restricted eating, or TRE. So I learned about that. I learned about the benefits, various health benefits that you could get from it. Sachin Panda is the main one, the main researcher that was on some of the podcasts I listened to and stuff, talking about that because he's done a bunch of research about it. So I got all excited about time-restricted eating, and I started putting it in practice. So that meant that I was kind of eating my food in a shorter window of time, maybe like 8 hours. And I worked my way up to it, right? I wasn't doing 8 hours from day one or whatever. But I did that. And at first, I didn't notice any big magical changes. But after a few months, I started to have fewer indigestion symptoms, didn't feel reflux was bothering me as often, and so forth. So after a few months, I was kind of like, maybe this is helping. I don't feel like I have to take my omeprazole quite as often anymore. And then a few months after that, my indigestion had basically gone away, and I was able to wean myself off the omeprazole. So I was able to completely stop taking it after being on it for like 2 years. So of course, I can't prove that it was the TRE that caused that improvement, but it mirrors the timeline perfectly. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's likely that it did help, and there are some reasons to explain why it could have helped. So why might time-restricted eating help with reflux? Well, I'll just give you a very simple reason. It's very basic. It doesn't require any physiology classes to understand, and that is when you're not eating, your stomach and the rest of your GI tract are able to rest and repair. When you are eating, they have to be hard at work, but when you stop eating, they can rest and repair. So if you're eating all day long, like most people, then you never get a chance during the day for your stomach to rest and repair. It's only while you're sleeping, which isn't really that big of an opportunity. But once you start kind of shortening your eating window, there's more time for your stomach to rest and repair. So here's what I think you should do if you're in this situation, if you're having reflux and you want to see if fasting is going to help. I think you should gradually start to shorten your eating window a little bit at a time. So I think if you rush into it, it could almost make things worse, just like when I did my 5-day fast, right? Because then you're having these long stretches of time where you're not eating anything and your stomach juices are getting all revved up, but you're not eating anything. So what you want to do instead is gradually shorten your eating window on a daily basis. And that probably makes the most logical sense for something that would help with acid reflux, at least as the first step on the process. So I actually have a video where I explained a method that you can use, which is kind of exactly what I would do first in this scenario if you're trying to help with acid reflux. And you can watch that video right here. So it explains how to start intermittent fasting, aka time-restricted eating, in a 2-step process, an easy, simple 2-step process. So go ahead and check out that video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.